What's a good track car? Miata. Cheap fun weekend car? Miata. Best car to haul my hairdresser supplies? Miata. No matter the question, Miata is always the answer. How did it get here? What makes it so great? You're about to find out, dude. This is everything you need to know to get up to speed on the Mazda Miata. In 1962, Americans watched Sean Connery cruise through the countryside in a Sunbeam Alpine II, a car so tiny he couldn't drive it with both elbows inside the vehicle. It sparked a love affair with an idea, a fun-to-drive, low-to-the-ground machine that was both freeing and exhilarating. Yes, America loves her muscle and pony cars, but the market opened up for the elegance, simplicity, and allure of the seductive British roadster. One problem, most of these cars fucking sucked. Great Britain used up all their good metal fighting Nazis.
Say auf Wiedersehen to your Nazi boss.
Add to that the fact that they had crazy wiring issues since they were put together in some Shropshire barn by a bunch of dudes who look like me. In 1976, Bob Hall, a Motor Trend contributor who specialized in Japanese cars, met with the R&D department at Mazda. Department heads Kenichi Yamamoto and Guy Arai asked him what he would like to see Mazda make in the future. He immediately started waxing nostalgic about the death of the great British roadster. The head of Mazda at the time, Kawai Matsuda, scoffed at the idea. A Japanese company building a British roadster?
Inconceivable!
In 1981, Hall found himself in charge of product planning for Mazda USA, and Yamamoto was in a position to approve new projects. They discussed the crazy lightweight roadster idea once more, and this time, with a handshake, Bob Hall began the work of developing a Mazda roadster. But who could Hall go to create a British-inspired roadster for American and Japanese drivers? He'd need to find a designer. Then he'd need to find someone with American automotive pedigree. Or he could find them all in Mark Jordan. Basically, the Michael Jordan of car stuff at the time. In 1981, Jordan, a family legacy at General Motors, was in charge of the most successful arm of GM in Europe, Opel. And the idea of resurrecting the Roadster was all the convincing he needed. The two helmed the initial stages of concept and design, pushing for a lightweight sports concept, and in less than a year, Mazda approved the Offline 55 project. Offline 55 wasn't a code name for the car. Instead, it was a new system of development where Mazda would pit their North American design team against their team in Tokyo. Just like my dad pitted me and my siblings against each other for his affection. It was an effort to change the way that Mazda brought new concepts to the streets and hopefully expand their clout in international markets. Hall brought on Tony Montana as chief designer for Mazda North American operations. The two men put together plans for a small sports car heavily influenced by the Lotus Elan and available in both a soft and a hard top. They called it the Duo 101. Get it? Duo. Both kinds of tops! In 1984, they took all the drawings of their car and headed to Tokyo to be judged. The Tokyo team brought in two plans, a front-engine, front-wheel drive car, and a mid-engine, rear-wheel drive layout. Yamamoto was impressed by both teams and wanted to take the competition one step further. Kumite, a fight to the death! Just kidding, he just had both teams make clay models and the American team won. So. There was one theme that would guide Mazda through the MX-5's development and future redesigns. Jinbai Atai.
Jinbai Atai.
Rider and horse, one body. It originated from the Japanese martial art of horse-mounted archery and helped Mazda realign how the world saw cars. Jinbai Atai dictated that the car would be as small and compact as possible, as comfortable as possible, and keep the front engine rear-wheel drive layout with a perfect 50-50 weight distribution. Under these tenets, the Mazda MX-5 was unveiled at the 1989 Chicago Auto Show. As reviews came rolling in, interest mounted almost exponentially. Dealers found themselves with multi-page waiting lists of hairdressers saying, "Finally, a car made for us!" Mazda Miata, the Diet Coke of cars. Sure, it's mostly for girls, but some cool dudes like them too. The Mazda MX-5, now known in the States simply as Miata, was also very affordably priced. The minimally equipped base model was available at under 14 grand. And really, who needs AC if the top's down all the time? A radio? F it. I got an engine, the sound of the wind, and the birds celebrating my arrival. That's all the symphony you'll ever need, Dad! Another thrill of the Miata, ease of maintenance. A home mechanic could do most of the maintenance themselves. And it was so easy that modification began to proliferate. Now anybody could enjoy the thrill of a traditional, comfortable, responsive roadster. And those who did instantly fell in love.
I love him, I don't care who knows it.
Mazda loved their Miata as well. A new performance division began in November 1991 in Tokyo under the name M2 Incorporated, also known as Mazda 2. M2 created niche autos derived from Mazda's volume products, sort of like AMG or M Division for BMW. They made 3 kick-ass versions of the MX-5 that were only available in Japan, so rest of the world. One thing the M2 release did do was establish that the Miata was a badass race car. After 10 years of accolades for the first gen Miata, the NA, the redesigned MX-5 was previewed at the Tokyo Motor Show in October of 1997. The second gen Miata featured a more powerful engine and borrowed styling from the FD RX-7. The most distinguishing difference were the headlamps. The first gen's badass pop-ups no longer passed pedestrian safety tests and were replaced with fixed ones. Pedestrians. Further, the new design was more aerodynamic and significantly reduced drag. And it got VVTi, variable valve timing. It's like VTEC. By the year 2000, enough Miata lovers were taking their cars to the track that NASA, the race guys, not the space guys, set a special class for the Miata. And Spec Miata was born. People love racing these cars! And remember the M2 division from before? Well, they're called Mazda Speed now. And in 2004, they rolled out another performance Miata, the turbocharged Mazda Speed MX-5. It made 178 horsepower and had a front-mounted intercooler. And guess what? If you couldn't get one from the dealer, you could build your own. Mazda continued making a bunch of Miatas, but whereas the first two generations of the MX-5 set a bar for the resurrected car class, by the mid-2000s, they were competing with other companies. Jaguar had been making the XKR since '96. Toyota turned out the MR2 Spider with a Y in '99. In 2004, we saw the release of the Audi TT Roadster, the BMW Z4, the Porsche Boxster S, and the Nissan 350Z. And nobody was talking about the MX-5. Various iterations and facelifts graced the third generation Miata between 2005 and 2014. But Mazda seemed cursed by its own success. People knew it was a great roadster, but that meant they could never be surprised. Mazda had to reinvent the car that they used to reinvent the Roadster. The fourth generation MX-5 debuted in 2016. It's 4 inches shorter and 220 pounds lighter than its predecessor. That's like having me not in the car with you anymore. The car was launched with both a 6-speed manual and a 6-speed automatic. It had 150 horsepower and has returned to its road-hugging reputation as the most exhilarating little monster on the road. And look at it, like an aggressive little cute monster. It's all those little squinty eyes. Woof. Additionally, a partnership with Fiat Chrysler meant that in 2016, the MX-5 had not only redefined the Roadster, but it also gets credit for reinvigorating the entire Fiat brand. It's fun, it's cheap, it's reliable. You can't go to a track without seeing a Miata, and you can't see a Miata driver without an ear-to-ear smile on their face. I mean, unless they got a divorce or their dog died or something. That's everything you need to know to get up to speed on the Mazda Miata. Tell us how we're doing. Tell us what cars you would like to get up to speed on. Do pop-up headlights really endanger pedestrians that much? Don't forget to subscribe and share. What is the biggest thing that you have ever fit inside of a Miata? Do you think I would look like Donkey Kong in Mario Kart if I drove a Miata?